Hello, everybody. My name is Dee, and welcome to Books and Quirks. Today is Friday, so it's time for a Friday Reads. And I have a lot of reading going on, so I'm very excited because all of the books that I'm currently reading or will be reading, I know that I will absolutely love. So let me just get started. Before I show you the books that I'm currently reading and will be reading, I just want to say that I did finish my buddy read with of Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. I really enjoyed parts of it, other parts not so much. But overall, I thought it was a very enjoyable read, very educational read, and I wound up giving it 3 stars. I think that you would enjoy Wolf Hall if you really enjoy reading about the Tudors. This book really revolves around Thomas Cromwell, who was very influential in Henry VIII's annulment of his first marriage and sort of paved the way for his second marriage to Anne Boleyn, and even more so to his third marriage with Jane Seymour. So I should also say that Wolf Hall is only the first book in the series. There are more books. The second book is, oh God, what's the name of it? Bringing Up Dead Bodies, something like that. I know that sounds morbid, but I have to look it up. But the second book is out. It continues Cromwell's life and his influence in the court. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a third book or not. So with the first book, even though it was a chunker, there's still a lot more to be said where it left off. So the next book that I'm currently in the middle of is Jane Seymour by Alison Weir, and I'm buddy reading this with Candace over at Beacon Hill Books, and we are just having a blast. We both love the Tudors, and Alison Weir is one of my favorite historical authors. This book is historical fiction, not nonfiction, but because she's a historian, she weaves a lot of facts into it, and the author's note at the end always tells you, she tells you kind of what was fact and where she took some liberties. But I'm really enjoying it. Jane Seymour was the third wife of Henry VIII and considered the most cherished because she gave Henry what he wanted most, which was a son. But unfortunately, she also had a very short life from she died during childbirth. So I was always interested in her and wanting to know more about her. She had such a short reign as queen, but she did give the cherished son that they really needed as an heir. I have to say, I'm really loving this book. We only have maybe 3 or 4 days left of the read, and then we'll be finishing it. And yes, if you're interested in the Tudors, I highly recommend these books. She's writing a book on each of the wives. I mean, she already has a dozen books out, but this particular series, I read Catherine of Aragon. The second book, obviously, is Anne Boleyn. This is the third book, and she'll write 3 more on the other 3 wives. The other book that I'm currently in the middle of is The Showrunners. The Showrunner is by Kim Mortsugu. I'm not sure if I said that name right, but I'll put a picture. And this book comes out at the end of June. I got it from NetGalley, and it's just a fun book. I'm about halfway through it, and it is an office comedy, basically. So it's about these 2 women that create and produce shows for a network television station. And they are at odds with one another. One is sort of an aging woman that has been there for many decades and is very experienced. And then you have this young woman, or younger. I don't want to say she's young. She's about in her 30s, younger woman, who is sort of threatening the older woman, in taking her place. So it's actually there's a lot of tension going on. They're at odds with one another, yet they have also a friendship. So it's just a comedy, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really laughing a lot while reading it. And yeah, I can't wait to finish it. And once I do, I'll do a full review of it. So another buddy read that I'll be starting on Sunday is The Night Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. This is the second book in the Great Coats book series. I'm not sure how many books there will be, but I will be reading this with Amber over at Amber Eats Books, which I'm so excited. I've wanted to buddy read something with her for a long time. So this is quite a chunker. The first book is The Traitor's Blade, and I did a full review of that book, and I'll link it below if you want to watch that. But this book is much thicker than that first book. So this book sort of mimics a little bit The Three Musketeers, but it's a totally different storyline, very original. It follows these three men who were once part of an elite society called the Great Coats, who served the king. Now they're sort of disbanded and disgraced, and their coats are in tatters, and they find all sorts of people are out to get them, and they just find all sorts of trouble. And with the first book, Traitor's Blade, I talk a lot about it in my review, but it's basically full of action. There was not one part of the first book that didn't have a lot of action in it, and that kept the storyline going, and the story was just very fast paced. And I really liked that, and I hope that the second book is just as good as the first. So the next book that I will be buddy reading, starting a buddy read on Monday with Candace over at Beacon Hill Books and Cheryl over at Sierra Flames Fan and Melanie of Mel's Bookland Adventures, and that is The Doomsday Book by Connie Willis. This is a famous sci-fi book written in the 1990s, and this is a very old copy. I actually bought it used, so it's a little bit beaten up, but that's okay. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time, so I really can't give you a synopsis. I read the synopsis a long time ago, and I don't want to read the whole thing on the back because it's pretty long, but I will definitely tell you what it's about once I get into it. I just know that this is a very famous book in the sci-fi fantasy community, and I've had this used copy on my shelf for quite some time, so I cannot wait to get into it, and I hope that it's just full of interesting stuff. So there you have it. That is everything that I am currently reading, everything that I will be reading. Now that work has died down a little bit, I mean, I still work 40 hours a week, but projects have died down a little bit. I feel like I'm really ramping up my reading again and loving every part of it, because the books that I've been reading lately, or the last month, have been really good, and in my opinion. And yeah, that's all I have for you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you're having some nice weather. We actually here in New Jersey had a heat wave of above 90s for 2 days, and today it's going to be in the upper 80s, but tomorrow it's supposed to cool down again. So it's nice to have summer weather. It really is. But once it gets above the 90s mixed with humidity, it gets uncomfortable. So we went from, cold, 60s and 50s to 90s. So it's just, it was quite a shock to the system, and happiness mixed with uncomfortableness once it got really, really hot in the late afternoon. But anyway, I hope that you're enjoying yourself wherever you are. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I can't wait to see what you all will be reading this weekend and talk to you all. And yes, so I will see you soon. Have a good one. Bye.